So how do you top a wonder of the world? I mean, seriously, it's a huge question, right? One that really pushes the limits of what we think is even possible. Well, back in the late 19th century, an entire American city was wrestling with that exact problem: how to create something, an icon, that could stand shoulder to shoulder with a global sensation.
And you know what? The answer didn't come from some famous, established architect. Nope. It came from a really determined engineer with a vision so audacious, so out there that most people just called it impossible. Today, we're diving into the story of the man who built the sky, George Ferris, and his incredible world-changing wheel. Okay, so let's set the scene. Our story kicks off with a classic rivalry. The year is 1893, and Chicago is hosting the World's Fair, which is a huge deal. But there's this giant shadow looming over the whole celebration, and I mean that literally, a tower-shaped shadow stretching all the way from Paris. You gotta understand, the pressure was just immense. Paris had the Eiffel Tower, the undisputed star of its 1889 exposition and a total global sensation. And now here comes Chicago, just desperate to prove itself on the world stage. The mission, even if no one said it out loud, was simple. Whatever they built had to be bigger, bolder, and just plain better. And the guy feeling that heat more than anyone, that would be Daniel Burnham, the lead architect for the entire fair. So what does he do? He puts out this challenge to all of America's best and brightest engineers. He basically said, listen up, I don't just want something to rival the Eiffel Tower, I need something that will completely overshadow its fame and its ingenuity.
So you can imagine, a lot of folks came forward with ideas for, well, taller towers. It's the obvious answer, right? But one engineer, he was thinking completely differently. He wasn't interested in just going up, he wanted to go around. He pitched something so revolutionary that most people just thought he was nuts.
And that engineer was George Washington Gale Ferris Jr. Just 33 years old, an engineer from Illinois, and here's the key thing about him. He was a bridge builder. He understood steel, tension, and strength in a way others didn't. He was young, he was ambitious, and man, did he have an imagination that saw things other people just couldn't. He heard Burnham's challenge, and he decided to answer it.
So the story goes, and it's a great one, that his aha moment happened in a restaurant. He's just sitting there and starts sketching on a napkin. And what he drew was this picture of a colossal revolving wheel. Think of it like a giant bicycle wheel, but one that could lift people high up into the sky, giving them a view of the city that no one had ever seen before.
But you know, genius isn't always recognized right away. When Ferris actually presented this big idea, the fair's organizers, including Burnham himself, totally balked. They called it, and I'm quoting here, an unsafe, monstrous contraption. They rejected it, flat out. They were terrified it would be a total engineering disaster.
Okay, but George Ferris, he was not the kind of guy who just gave up. Not at all. He knew his math was right. He knew his vision was possible. And honestly, that rejection just poured gasoline on the fire. It made him even more determined to turn that little napkin sketch into a true titan of steel. And his perseverance was just incredible. He started spending his own money on safety studies and detailed blueprints. Then he hit the road, just tirelessly pitching this crazy idea to anyone who would listen. And you know what? It worked. He eventually convinced investors to put up a whopping $400,000. He was literally betting his entire career on this wheel. Now, actually building this thing, wow, it was a massive engineering challenge. This is where his bridge building skills really came into play. First, they had to lay this super solid foundation. Then, 2 gigantic steel towers started rising up into the Chicago sky. Then came the really nerve-wracking part. They had to hoist this 45-ton axle, the biggest single piece of forged steel in the world back then, and get it into place between the towers. Can you imagine? Finally, they assembled the rest of the wheel structure and hooked up a powerful steam engine to bring the whole shebang to life. So, after months and months of relentless work, fighting against all that skepticism and looming deadlines, they did it. The impossible was built. And what happened next is this incredible story of triumph, but also of personal tragedy, and a legacy that, well, it's still spinning all across the globe today. Oh, and that opening day, what a moment. So, who do you think were the very first people to ride it? None other than George Ferris and his wife, right alongside the mayor of Chicago.
And get this, as they started to rise into the air, a 40-piece band was playing down below. This wasn't just the opening of a ride, it was the birth of a new wonder of the world. The success was instant, and the numbers are just mind-boggling. Let's run through them. First off, the wheel stood 264 feet tall. It totally dominated the Chicago skyline and gave you a view that until then only birds had seen.
And that massive structure, it had an incredible capacity. We're talking 36 passenger cars, each one about the size of a small bus. All told, it could carry over 2,000 people at the exact same time.
And they needed that capacity because people went absolutely wild for it. In just the 19 weeks of the fair, more than 1 million tickets were sold. People would line up for hours just to get that magnificent view from the top.
And all that popularity, of course, meant it was a financial home run. The wheel pulled in more than $726,000. It easily paid back its investors and proved once and for all that Ferris's crazy idea was pure genius. Chicago finally had its answer to the Eiffel Tower. But here's the tragic twist in the story. For all of the wheel's amazing success, George Ferris himself, he barely saw a dime. He got tangled up in these really bitter legal fights with the fair's organizers over the profits, and those battles just completely drained his bank account, leaving him bankrupt. I mean, his personal story is just such a stark contrast. In 1893, he's literally on top of the world, celebrated for this engineering marvel. Just 3 years later, he's dead at the age of 37, totally broke. And yet, today, his invention, the Ferris Wheel, is this beloved icon in cities all over the planet. The name Ferris is synonymous with fun and wonder. It's like his personal tragedy was completely eclipsed by his enduring global legacy. And all of this kind of leaves you with one last thought, doesn't it? George Ferris looked at a simple bicycle and saw a wonder of the world. He looked at a skyline and didn't see a limit. He saw a brand new horizon. So it really makes you wonder, what simple everyday thing out there right now is just waiting for someone with a vision to see it differently and turn it into the next great world-changing invention?